Good afternoon. I'm coming with some more ideas. They're just popping up in me and I share them as they come. Do you have one of these? This is my maybe 8-year-old Lucreuse, Lecreuset. It's French cookware. Super heavy. Cast iron with a coating on top. I have to tell you, when I make soup and do not use my Le Creuset pot, it just doesn't have that caramelization flavor that those vegetables get from my pot. Do you know this is my second pot? My first one got scratched and you could see underneath, and so I went to call the company and they replaced it. All I had to do was send this one in for 30 bucks and they sent me another one. So this pan, though they're expensive, wow, it's a great thing to have in your kitchen if you love to cook. Today I'm going to be doing 3 things and I'm just going to show it to you. Really not that hard. It's a cook day for me. What do you get when you caramelize an onion and simply carrots? I don't know if I'll use all of these. And celery. Some sweet potatoes. Add a little wilted spinach on the top. And then brown maybe half of this into really small pieces. Some high protein bison, organic bison. What do you get? You get a beautiful, delicious, healthy stew. I take it back. I'm going to be using today bone broth. I was reading the labels and I know bone broth is good for me. So I'm using bone broth. I'm not using chicken, I'm using bison. So this is one thing that I'm going to do today. I don't know if I've ever made this and it has failed. I make it at least once a month, maybe sometimes a month. When my first year after chemo, we probably always had this in the house. And I always make different versions of it. Notice the things that this doesn't have. It doesn't have green beans. It doesn't have cabbage. Of course, it doesn't have chicken. Now, I don't put any real carbs except a potato in here.
Hamburger's okay.
Yeah, and hamburger's good too. And I also, as I was thinking of someone in my life, I bought this darling little jar. So I can, as soon as it's done, fill it up and send it to my beloved daughter, who's a block 5 minutes away. So this is where I'm headed for today. Soup for Myron and soup for Angie. The other thing that I'm doing today for Carlene is I just couldn't get enough of these jicama poppers. So I went out and actually got myself a pan. See how cool that is? And it has this tray that fits right on top. The way I was doing it, it was sliding. And I actually went with smaller jicamas. Last time I used bigger. This time I'm going to try using smaller.
Not jalapeno.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Jalapeno. Yikes. Yeah. Jalapeno. I made a mistake. Jalapenos. I went with smaller jalapenos, and I'm going to see how that works. You can look back on my 5-minute video that I did the other day. I tell you how to make it with bacon and cream cheese. This is for me. I loved it so much yesterday, I'm making it today. Keto, it has fat, lots of protein. The other thing I'm going to do today is peel this jicama. What is it? Jicama, jalapeno. You know how to spell it. I'm going to take this jicama, and with Myron's help, because it's so hard, I'm going to make long matchsticks. And then I'm going to brown them in my oven on a high temperature in olive oil, and I'm going to make jicama French fries. Did you know that this jicama, it's a stem vegetable. It's not a root vegetable. Comes from South America. It has lots of vitamins and minerals. It has prebiotics. It has fiber, has lots of vitamin C and a lot of vitamin K, which really goes well when you're taking D3. It's much lower in calorie than a potato. It's lower in fat than a potato, but it has more protein and more fiber than a potato. So the best way that I know to eat this is to turn it into a French fry. And that's what we're going to be having today over here. The soup will probably be for the weekend and Monday. And the last thing I'm going to do today is work with a vegetable that is so surprisingly healthy. Rhubarb. Rhubarb does not grow in hot areas, so I could not grow rhubarb in Phoenix. We go to North Dakota and we can get rhubarb, even though it comes earlier in the summer. But I'm going to try it. Do you know this rhubarb costs $6? Yeah, it does. I know how to make rhubarb crunch, rhubarb pie, and I'm not going to use any sugar. I'm going to use coconut flour and our oats, depending on what I do. And I'm not going to use any real sugar. I'm going to use monk fruit. And I'm going to make just a 8x8 dessert of rhubarb because tomorrow we're heading out of the area. We're going for coffee up in Prescott. We're going to do a climbing of a little of some mountain, and we're going to have coffee at the courthouse square. And I want to make something delicious and special to bring along that's healthy for Myron and me and Katrina. So these are the 3 things I'm doing today. I'm just sharing ideas. I know you have ideas. I would love to know your ideas, but I do know this, that God blesses, and I pray that our food is blessed.